So the first thing that I want you to consider when looking at down payment assistance is the program limitations and or requirements. And what I mean by that is this: there are several limitations or guidelines that pertain to the amount of assistance, the way the assistance is applied, the income requirements for those that are looking to buy. And in most cases, it's going to be at 80% or below of the area median income. The property types has to be a certain type of home. As far as energy efficiency, applicants must make a minimum down payment amount. So, not saying that these things are negative, but when you're out shopping or thinking about using a down payment assistance program, you have to understand the limitations and the requirements of each specific program. Most cities that offer the down payment programs are also going to require minimum of an 8-hour in-person in a class. You cannot have a certain amount of reserves or assets, a certain amount of money, and then you have to contribute a certain amount. Then the city has to approve you from their process along with the lender process. That's why these programs in the past got a negative, if you will, because the time frame in which it took to get some of these things done can be significant. So that's something that you need to understand. Purchase price and income limits. But most of these programs are going to have a defined income list, kind of like what you see here. And again, these numbers are based upon HUD coming up with these numbers on an annual basis, because the overall spirit of all of these programs is really to help underserved people that really don't have the ability to really save extra for down payment and closing costs. And as I said earlier, today, that's a lot of folks. You'd be surprised at the income level of people that I'm helping. And these folks making over $100,000 in some of these programs, and they're utilizing the down payment assistance because they have their wherewithal to service the debt, but they just don't have any wiggle room to save extra, or it's going to take them a long amount of time. So these programs are designed to help those type people. But on the city, county level, not only are the income requirements a little tighter, but the purchase price requirements are going to be smaller as well. And that could be a challenge in the environment that we're in today because home prices are up. So you want to understand the income and the maximum purchase price requirements, because they don't always mirror what the county limits are wherever you are for FHA or VA or USDA or conventional. Moreover, a lot of these city or county type programs, you have to be within a certain geographical area, within the city limits of, within the county limits of. So these programs have a lot of restrictions on the city, county level. Once we get to the state level, we get a little more elbow room and have a little more freedom to what you can do and less limitations. The third thing I want to have you guys understand is that there's time requirements are tied to the type of down payment programs that are available. Most of these programs available today are going to have some type of time requirement that you have to keep said loan before the down payment is forgiven. Whatever the assistance was is forgiven. Down payment and or closing costs are forgiven. So like when we look at TSHAC, Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, great program, statewide, doesn't have some of the limitations of the city or county level programs and gives you higher income qualification, higher purchase prices. But most of their programs are going to be based upon a 36-month forgivable second model. So just as an example, say you got $5,000 in the form of a Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation down payment assistance. It's going to be delivered in the form of a silent second, meaning there's no payments due as long as you keep that house or that loan. I'll say it that way. As long as you keep that loan for 36 months and don't refinance it or sell the home, then month 36, that $5,000 is forgiven. But if you do anything that I aforementioned, refinance or sell within 36 months, then you got to pay that whole $5,000 back. Now, TSHAC still offers a grant version, as you can see right here, the government grant version. If you're going to look for a down payment assistance program, I'm always looking for grant. Grant is free, gratis. And typically, if it's a grant program, there's no time limits. And that's a very important thing in the environment that we're in now, because if you think that rates are going to start coming down in the future, like in this example, if you did a 2% down payment assistance grant or 3% as of today, this is 8/1, the rate is 7.375%. And for those that don't understand and aren't working with the right people, they might be like, I'm not doing that. Remember, that's free money. And if I'm looking to refinance fairly quickly, and with most of these government loans, you got to have at least six made payments, if you will. So that puts me in the running for a potential streamlined refinance or something of that nature. But see, now we're playing chess. So very important to understand the time limits that are tied to the assistance. Is it a free money? Is it grant money where I don't have to remain in that loan for a period of time? Or do I have to keep this for a period of time? And then that's why it's very important to strategize and understand what it is while you're doing, because you might shoot yourself in the foot. One other thing I would like to say, when we look at TSHAC and then the State Housing Finance Agency, TDHCA, right? Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. As I stated, at this point in time, they don't have a grant version, but because this is the State Housing Finance Corporation, the official one, the rates are going to be a lot more favorable. So very important that you understand the type of program that you're dealing with, the limitations, the parameters, things of that nature, because they're all are different. But when we get online, sometimes folks talk as if they're all the same. The difference between the nonprofit and the state official organization, you'll see a difference in the interest rates as you see here. But you have to understand, is it a grant, or is it a forgivable second, or a repayable second? See, they have even a repayable second option here. And when you go into the repayable options, the rates are different, but they have more flexibility. Speaking of rates, that's another thing when we're talking down payment assistance. These rates are not negotiable. They're not like a regular FHA, USDA, VA conventional loan. These rates are determined or set by the program. The stuff that I'm showing you today, you can go online, you type in TSHAC, and you can educate yourself. Because from a lending standpoint, we don't have any input or influence on the interest rates or the cost to do the loan. The percentage of the down payment assistance, the 2, 3, 4, 5% is going to be based on the total loan amount. That's after your down payment, and it includes funding fee and things of that nature, depending on what type of loan you're doing. The total loan amount. Then you also have to back out the administration fees that are associated with all of these programs. Again, these folks have employees, they got overhead, offices, things of that nature. So even with the down payment assistance, that's something else I want you to realize. Nothing's free. Nothing's free. It's an assistance. So if you don't have the ability to have some of the monies, then you really need to reconsider, in my opinion, respectfully, and fall back and make sure you're in a position where you're ready to buy. The folks that I see that understand this and do the best, they already have their down payment and closing costs. Now it's a matter of using OPM, other people's money, with a strategy in place, because any dollar that you have in your hand today obviously is going to be more valuable than dollars in the future because of inflation. I digress. Last point on this before we get to number 5, okay, is you want to make sure you understand these programs, because you can only be, as it says right here, a first-time home buyer one time, or you have to have a 3-year gap where you haven't had residential real estate as your primary residence. So it's very important with the first-time home buyer, because in my opinion, the best down payment assistance there is really tied to a mortgage credit certificate, an MCC. And in order to get an MCC or any type of discounted rate on the first mortgage, we have to validate that you haven't had any mortgage interest with your tax returns for the most recent 3 years. If you understand the power of the mortgage credit certificate and how you can use that credit to pay a tax bill and forward up to 3 years what you don't use, you basically take these rates effectively and lower them. Okay. And you're not lowering the rate, but if you understand money, if you have a 15% credit, you're not paying 6.75% interest, because that 15% is, you can turn that into a dollar amount, and you can use that to pay taxes with a lot of things. If you're actually getting monies back, that 15% could go into that bucket first, and then you get more money back. So there's a lot of strategies that I won't go into now, but that leads me into the last part of the video, and that's this. Number 5, you need to partner with somebody that understands not only the intricacies of these programs, but how they can benefit you if you use them. Quick example, talking with a client now, they're looking at buying a manufactured home. Just had to give them a nice breakdown of potentially going conventional, because I didn't even mention conventional. Now today with conventional, if you're at 80% or less of your area median income and your stuff isn't together, probably should be going conventional, because we partner with an investor where you can put as little as 1% down and get 2% back as a grant, and they're paying for their appraisal. So my point is, you need to deal with someone that understands how money works and can help you, if you will, execute your strategy, not just make a commission and get you into a home. It's even more important now because costs are up. So you need to have somebody that's very well versed, knows how to navigate the program, knows the guidelines of the program, and has done the program. Because you want to do a state program over a city program, especially if time is a factor, because those city programs are going to take time. They might be taking anywhere between 45 and 60 days to close based upon how the government moves. That's a government entity opposed to a state program where we handle everything, get you in and out. Not telling you what to do, but you have to understand that up front. So you want to partner with somebody that understands, not just in these programs, but loans in general. So with that said, if you like a loan scenario, right here, click the QR code, fill out the form, and we can see if we can't get you a loan scenario. If you need a second opinion, follow the instructions, because I'm saving a lot of folks a lot of money out here. And I'll just put it that way. Hopefully, all of this makes sense to you. I'll end with this. Home ownership is very important. And now more than ever, there are really no excuses to get on the property ladder if you qualify. Okay. This isn't for everybody. Home ownership isn't for everybody, but for those of you all that want to be homeowners, down payment and closing costs shouldn't be an excuse any longer. So if you'd like to know where you stand, again, use these 5 things to help you pick the right partner, because if you get it wrong, it can literally cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. My time is up. Thank you for yours. As I always say, let's be good to one another. Let grace abound. And until the next time, peace. Y'all be blessed.